Welcome back to the channel Droo. This is another Droo review. Today we're going to be looking at the LifeStraw GO filter bottle. Let's get into it. So why do you need a filter bottle? Well, most people don't. But if you're outdoors a lot, and by water a lot, it means you don't have to carry your own water. And it means if you get in a sticky situation, you can get water from a questionable source. It could potentially save your life. I've personally used a filter bottle for many years, and I can honestly say I think this is my favorite one I've ever used. So this review will probably be a little less in depth. There's not much to it. It's a water bottle, it's got a filter, and you drink through it. Pretty simple. I really do like it, so let's take a deeper dive and I'll tell you why I like it so much and the issues I've had with it. Alright, first, let's talk quality. It's made out of a nice hard plastic. I'm sure it's the same stuff that Nalgene's and Camelback water bottles are made of. The lid itself feels real quality. It's got a little bit of a moving part with the straw here. The cap fits snug. It doesn't seem to leak. There's a nice little rubber mouthpiece that feels nice and feels like it's also high quality. So overall, definitely high quality. I don't think it's that hard with a water bottle, but they've still done it. As far as appearance goes, I don't love the styling of the bottle. I don't know, it's just I don't love it. It's a pretty minor thing, honestly. I got this blue one because it was available. They make 10 different colors, and some of them I actually like better, but this was available. It was quick, it was easy, so this is what I got. One thing I didn't realize when I bought it is it also comes in a 1 liter option. This is the 650 milliliter option. Not a huge deal because I constantly refill it anyway, but the 1 liter is a little beefier, and I think I like that better. The way I typically use the bottle is I carry it with me, empty, and I'm on the river most of the time. Almost all the time, actually. So whenever I need a drink, I just dip it into the river and then drink either the full bottle or half or so. And then I just dump out the rest and carry the empty bottle because it's lighter. Speaking of carrying it, it does have a carabiner attachment, which I do like. It's very nice to have. Personally, I'd prefer like a hard plastic loop around the top. I just think it kind of flops around and doesn't feel quite as secure. Also, the carabiner it comes with is tiny. I upgraded to a much bigger one, which is just way more convenient for me. So that's just a small grievance. It's a design choice I would not have personally made. It does, however, bring us to my main grievance with this thing, and that is the slickness of the cap. Sometimes when I screw it in, it's really difficult for it to unscrew. As you can see, the cap is totally cylindrical. It's a hard, kind of slick plastic. There's very little to grip onto, and sometimes it's really difficult to actually take the cap off. If they had a hard plastic loop, that would provide your hand with something to really grip on. You could sort of do it with the straw, but I don't want to risk damaging or breaking the part I actually drink out of. That's my main grievance with this whole thing. It's not a huge deal, but it's enough of a hassle that it really makes me wish they had designed the cap differently, or at least a rubber grip or something knurled. Not a big deal. Despite the difficulty in opening the bottle, once you get it open, it's really, really nice to drink from. I've used a lot of filter bottles, and they can be a real hassle to drink from, a real pain. This one it's almost like it's not even there. Of course, I say that compared to other filters, you can drink out of it with relative ease. And that's seriously the number one feature, the number one reason to get this filter. It works with way less resistance than others. The filter itself is a 2-part filter. There is a membrane microfilter, and there's a carbon activated filter. The carbon one's a bit of a gimmick. It's supposed to make it taste better. It doesn't last very long. It's like 40 uses or something. The membrane filter is the bulk of it, and that does the actual filtering. That's the heavy duty part. This whole part is the membrane filter, and that's the little carbon charcoal filter or whatever. The Membrane filter removes 99.9999999% of bacteria, 99.9999% of parasites, and 99.999% of microplastics. Silt, sand, cloudiness, whatever. It pulls it out. It's a good filter. And the membrane filter lasts much longer than 40 uses. It's like 1,000 uses. I can't remember exactly, but it's good. Of course, this filter is rated, meets all the standards, EPA, NSFP P231 drinking water standards. It removes everything you could worry about from a reasonable water source. It does a good job filtering out heavy metals too. Something to keep in mind though is it doesn't really change the taste of water. Water can still taste bad. It also won't remove obviously salt or anything dissolved in the water, and that's usually where the taste comes from a bit. So you have to watch the salinity level of the water source you're drinking from. I have no actual way of testing if it removes 99.9999999 whatever percent bacteria. So you're just gonna have to trust them on that. I do. I've used it a bunch. I've never been sick. I've also used basically an Amazon knockoff of this and was fine, but this is easier to drink through. And personally, a brand like LifeStraw is fairly reputable, and I trust them more than a knockoff on something like a water filter that's important and potentially has hazardous consequences if its quality control is not as good. It's $40, which is a little pricey. I personally think it's worth it. The Amazon one's like $20, but I think it's probably worth the extra $20 for the peace of mind and the potential higher quality. Now, this isn't a comparison video, but I think it's worth mentioning some of the other options out there. I did use the Nalgene filter that they have, and that was terrible. Broke within a week. I might do a full review on that later. This is definitely a better choice. And then there's plenty of other straw type suck through filters. There's some where you squeeze it that LifeStraw offers as well. And then there's Grail, which you kind of like push down and like a French press force the filter through. And that's pretty interesting actually. And I liked that, and I'm definitely going to try and do a review on that. But that one's got some flaws as well. And then my favorite, if you have clear water and you know it's not got minerals or anything, is a UV light filter. And they make bottles or SteriPen, where the UV light kills all the pathogens, or doesn't actually kill them, but it disables them, I guess. Anyway, it gets rid of the pathogens in the water, and that's really handy and nice, but you have to have a much cleaner, clear drinking source than a filter, because the filter takes all the silt out. The other one doesn't take anything out. The bottle's really straightforward, easy to use, but I figured I'd give you a quick instruction manual. You open the top, you dip it in the water, you fill it to the max fill line, you screw the top back on, and then you pop the strop and you start sucking, and you got water. Incredibly simple, intuitive. It's not a difficult thing to figure out, so there's not a whole lot of substance on usability here. So overall, this thing's awesome. The cap's not perfect. The carabiner's not perfect. The price is a little more than you'd want, but it's such a great filter. It's really easy to use. LifeStraw is really reputable. I know I can get replacement filters for this bottle forever. So I've used pretty much every other type of filter and a bunch of different filters, UV, push, whatever. And I can tell you for sure this is what I will be using for the foreseeable future. It's just too convenient and it's too easy to drink from to use anything else.